Hello, Dimitri.
Hello.
We're back again.
Nice.
So what's the subject today? Refactoring functions to extension functions. From Java. I'm not going to teach you about extension functions because you already know about extension functions. But we're going to look at some refactorings and see where it takes us. I'm thinking so the sort of fiction here is that we had these people in marketing and they are exporting a spreadsheet and they're using spreadsheet to work out which of our customers have high value.
Is that this test?
That's this one. Yeah, absolutely. High value customer report test. So we are they're exporting this tab separated thing with a score for customers and how much they spent in this period, whatever the period is. And we want to take that thing and because they can't do this with Excel for some reason, can't remember why. We want to generate some report from it, which contains only the high value customers and how much they've spent, and also totals the amount that's been spent by the customers that we deem to be for high value. So I guess we could just run that.
That's the
input and output, basically.
The whole thing? The whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, it's all good.
And if we just trying to understand what's going on. So the first name, last name, score, and spend. So that's a list of customers. And then we have the same customers below, like this Rubble, Betty. But this is basically a filtered version with only high value customers.
Yeah, so in this case, it's only the customers who have a score above 10, or 10 and above, I think, technically. We've got a nice little empty test just to show that what happened if there aren't any customers in the list. Obviously, we don't expect that to happen, but it kept us. And there's a little bit of logic in there that says that if you because the way they export the spreadsheet, who knows? Sometimes they get sent out without any spend, in which case you have to assume their spend is 0. So there's a little test there that dives into a sort of private method of customer data there.
Oh God. Okay, some enterprise.
Yeah, some things. So let's go and have a look at the implementation of this thing. It's sort of reasonably typical Java, I think. So that is just, and so you can see that our report reads from a reader, writes from a writer, and it's Java and it's got streams in it. And so you see that it has to get rid of the header line and then work out how to get customer data from a line, and then filter those and then sort comparing with a thing, and then collect a list. And the good news is that this example we can use for days and days, so buckle up. So let's so this is Java, and we're writing a book called Java to Kotlin. So let's convert it to Kotlin, maybe. But first of all, actually, let's have a little first at customer data before we go on. Well, the actual type customer data.
Which line? Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah, so that returns a thing. And you see that we've had to it's not a data class. Well, it is a data class really, but we're actually accessing those fields directly. This is only used here. It's not our sort of domain abstraction for customer. It's just the thing we're reading and writing. We're reading from this file really.
Yeah.
So what shall we do? Let's this first easy win would be to convert this to Kotlin, because we'd be able to use a data class and we get rid of equals, and we may have defined hash code. I can't remember. So let's start by converting this to. Oh, I did look at that. Yeah. Start by converting this to
So we're starting from the leaves, basically. Right?
Yes, well, it's just an easy win, right? When we find something that looks like a value type, that'd be so much nicer in Kotlin. So let's go and do that.
Should I say yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, always say yes, really.
I just remember there were some cases when it's better to say no.
Yeah, there are some.
That
Okay.
was maybe
the converter's getting better all the time. Right. Does that run compile its tests? Let's give it a go first. I mean, it should be able to run it.
Yeah, just running all tests, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, this failed.
Yeah. So this is an interesting sort of place where the converter screws up. The converter doesn't believe that we could possibly be accessing fields directly. Actually, there is a way to solve this problem. If you back out our conversion, so yeah, undo that one. What we can actually do is we can encapsulate all this. So at the moment we're calling string, customer data ID rather than get ID, but the Kotlin converter doesn't know that that's a sensible thing to do. But what we can do is there's a command for encapsulate fields. I think it is. I think it just
remember.
No, I don't either. I mean, I just Command Alt A and then Command Shift A, whatever it is. Command Shift A, yeah. Encapsulate fields.
Yeah,
that's the one. So if we say encapsulate all those fields, we don't need set access. Yes, and use accessors even when field is accessible, I think, is sensible for us here.
So that's all good.
Yeah, just tick the use accessors even when field is accessible.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, it's all going to go in a minute. So what this will do is this will make all the Java code call the getters. And it gets, so there's all like new getters. It gets quite horrendous, as you can see in that equals method. But that should still pass its tests, I guess, should still compile, and we would have changed some Java around it.
Yeah, right. And then convert to Kotlin.
And now we can convert to Kotlin, yes. It's a bit of a weird way around, but as I say, nobody apparently accesses Java fields directly in the world, so we can't expect the converter to think that's a good idea. Okay, so we should be able to convert that straight to a data class now.
Right, so now this actually compiles, so this transformation didn't break. Good. And convert to data class, you mean like that?
Yes.
Delete equals, delete hash code, delete everything.
Delete all the things.
And run the test. Yeah, nice.
So it's just one of these examples where things go wrong in the conversion, and we've sort of found a way around making them go right. But do still have to know enough Kotlin to fix up the Java that's been converted to Kotlin. It's convert to Kotlin doesn't seem to solve all our problems, unfortunately. So this is HighValueCustomerReport. So our aim is to convert this to Kotlin as well. So, well, our aim is to add features to it probably at some point. But for now, we're going to convert this to Kotlin. Let's do that and see how we get on. It's worth, just while we look at this, seeing that those are all static functions in here.
Yeah.
So there's no state here.
Yes.
Yes, not there is any. Oh, well, I guess there's still the tests on there.
Oh, it's gone red.
It's gone red. Yes, again, the converter just seems brain dead at that point. Don't know why. There you are. Well fixed.
Oh, if that works, the rest is fine.
Yeah. Again, just have to know enough. And now everything's being hosted in an object, and that's not really helpful. So we can convert these things to top-level functions really just by deleting that object. and the JVM statics.
Okay, unwrap now.
Oh,
so like that.
Unwrap. Yeah, give that a go. I think JVM static is no longer required because everything at top level is static. We'll leave the throws in there because Java, we still got Java code that's calling this. So let's, yeah.
Okay, that seems to be it.
Does that do the job?
I'll compile it. No, right. So I suppose. Oh, no.
Yeah, so really, we could have annotated the class to move everything into a static class with the right name for these to work, but what you're doing is also fine.
Well, we had 3 usages. What if you had 300?
Well, at that point, yes, we can annotate the file that this file at the top to pretend they were in the same place as they were before.
Right.
So these are being generated in a static Java class somewhere, but its name is going to end in KT now, whereas previously it would have been HighValueCustomerReport, I think.
Yeah, or we could maybe migrate the imports everywhere, like break the code and fix the import.
Yeah, yeah, there are a few ways around this, but we're winning. So let's go and let's go back. The idea here is to sort of demonstrate where extension functions make our life, if not easier, at least code read better, should we say. Let's have a look down here. I think there's a marketingNameFor. Yeah, so down there's marketingNameFor. So when in the output, marketing want this, the uppercase the family name and then put in a comma and then put in the given name. So rather than Dmitry Kandalov, it would be Kandalov, comma Dmitry, and so on. And these are sort of typical of the sort of things that we end up making extension functions for, because we don't want to pollute our customer data with them. They're just sort of specific to this one place, although arguably so is customer data here. But it's a good one to sort of warm up on. So if we Alt Enter on customer, we can convert it to receiver. And now we have customer data marketingNameFor, and now that's a bad name, right? So it's marketing name, and we could even convert it maybe to an extension value, extension property. Yeah, property. There you go.
And then this to expression body.
Yeah. I think that's probably as sweet as it's going to get. So if we compare that to the code that we had before, then it reads quite nicely now in 44. Instead of saying marketingNameFor, let's what should we pick on next?
That was my question. It's like, to me, it looks like I would normally, after converting Java to Kotlin, just go and randomly clean up code, basically maybe read top to bottom and see what's not idiomatic Kotlin to me. I would just change it. And so we started from the bottom. Maybe we can go bottom
up. Sure. Let's start from the bottom and go bottom up. So formatMoney. Yeah, I that feels like it's an extension function to me as well. I mean, the places that these sort of come out to me are the places where they don't read right. Yeah, so that's better. Also, go on.
I was just wondering, should it be called formatted or something? That would be more kind of Kotlin.
I would say toMoneyString or toMoneyString sort of seems. The thing to do, of course, is to look at where we use it, right? So we're using it at 45 there, customer spend to MoneyString, and 29 total to MoneyString. That seems like a good seems like a good name. Personally, I think there is a Kotlin version of string format that works sort of the other way around, where you can say that format string dot format this.
You mean?
Yeah, so there's an extension method on string, I think.
So you mean if I have this string, I can do format?
Yes.
And it takes this, and that should be equivalent to the line below.
Yeah. Run that test, just see. I mean, personally, that kind of leaves me cold. But what doesn't, oddly, is double formatted as string. So I would rather that read this formatted as %hash.2f.
Yeah, I agree. Then if you have multiple arguments, that's not going to work. I suppose you can have multiple.
I mean, there's always this question with extension functions of who is the receiver. I mean, is this if I've got two types A and B, is this a thing that takes is an extension on A that takes a B, or is it a thing that's an extension on B that takes an A? Let's try writing double formatted as. I'm not sure. I can't think of any good way of refactoring to it. But if we just write private fun double formatted as.
Oh, you mean create a new function called double format? And then it takes a format string.
Then it takes a format, yeah.
Right. Then we're saying format.
Yeah, yes.
Format this.
Well, yeah, it is a bit weird, isn't it? But it is what it is. And then toMoneyString is this formatted as, yeah. Two T's, yeah.
I lost the string.
And I'm not sure whether my brain is just wired differently than people that prefer these things not as extension functions, but I just like reading left to right. Customer spend to MoneyString. MoneyString is I would put in the this there personally, because sometimes it kind of you can work your way back to, obviously that's this, but I think often adding the this helps.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. The only place I'm not sure format is a good name. Maybe formatString. It's kind of funny, but twisted. Not less confusing.
Arguably, string.formatString.this, comma this would have been slightly clearer as well, but it's not. Not hugely important to us. No. I think we're caught up with it, aren't we? Okay. So how far have we got up? We got up 3 lines so far, with a bit of work.
What is it going to take us to get to the test?
Kotlinize that. Yeah, Kotlinize all the things.
So what? What do you mean?
So oddly, yeah. So what happened to convert? So that now says convert to raw string, not convert to string concatenation.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the same thing? I suppose so. Convert concatenation to template. Oh, so they changed the name of it. Had they, or I lost it somewhere on the line. Yeah, do that one. That's good. Those tabs are a bit weird, but it's better than the raw string.
I personally would think maybe it should be a list and then it's joined with a tab. That's the way I would think about it, really.
Me too, sometimes. Yeah, it's simple enough, isn't it? But yes, I mean, I think if we really wanted throughput, building a list for that would be a bit over the top. And actually, arguably, I mean, as our application becomes successful, we do want throughput for this, but yeah, I would make it a single expression in any case.
And I can convert customer to receiver, parent to receiver.
Yes. I don't know what we call that. Output line, maybe.
Where do you use it? It's customer data to CSVLine.
Well, it's TSVLine technically, but
or maybe to TSV. It's not a line. line.
I mean, luckily, I mean all the time these things are private. We don't have to don't have to worry too much. Okay, shall we have a go at CustomerData.From? I mean, for me, these things that begin with from are always candidates for extension functions. They always suggest that we've done something back to front.
Let's use line.
Yeah, I think that's too customer data, isn't it, really? And
parsing.
What was that?
Is it like a parsing function in a way?
It is, yes,
Parsing
exactly what we're doing. Yes, so it's. I mean, we could call it parse. I think later on in this refactor, which is we won't get to today, I'm sure, we worry about errors in this thing and when it's not the right type, and we start returning nullable types or result types from this thing. But let's not sweat it. What we could do is we could make parts. We could make this a single expression function with some of the malarkey we did last time. Okay. So I think last time we decided that we would build a let around. We'd surround 34 to 39 with a let, or 39 to 40. No, so we're down one to 34.
Sorry. What should I do? Let, and then which one?
I'd move the part. I'd move the parts out of the let and everything else into it.
So that's what we want, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and then we move the let and the parts to the beginning of the let.
Like that.
Yeah. And then put that in there. Yeah, that was the way. At this point, we should probably run those tests, but yeah. That to typed array, who knows what that's doing there? I think it's because, yeah, something about the converter got a bit confused there. I think we just delete the typed array.
Yeah, I think most likely is unnecessary. Yeah.
And now we can pull that, lift that return, I think is the expression.
Right. I'll lift it manually.
Why on earth 38 ended up with two expressions on the one line as well? I don't know. Just another one of those things that the converter randomly thought was a good idea.
Should I do this? I would do this in real code base. Just
that looks good to me.
I know like this.
We could probably inline spend. Not sure it's. I mean, as a single sort of expression, I think it sort of. That, by the way, is just a thing that's supporting our what happens if they didn't put a spend in. It's worth looking at the corners of this now. So I think
the converter to expression.
Go on then. Go on. You know you want to.
Look at the use case, line to customer data.
So that's good. I think there's probably another one because we use it in the test as well.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, it's Java.
So what's interesting is the Java is calling this as a static function. So its name is not as great from Java, but it's okay. So these things can be used from both Java and Kotlin.
I like the parameter name though in Java.
Oh really? String this?
Yeah,
oh goodness, I'd never noticed that. Now you've ruined things for me.
Sorry. Well, just ID support, I think, could be maybe. Could lie to us. That's probably an actual name. An actual thing. Like,
did it pass these tests? I can't remember how we.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it was a while ago.
Go us. Okay, so we start at the bottom. It's looking okay, isn't it? summaryFor, then you're going to want to fix this somehow. There's some really odd destructuring happened on 27, isn't there?
Oh yeah, so true.
Like, map to double, spend to spend. Oh, so stream as well. Yeah.
This is just each customer. It's like each spend. I suspect
it is. Yes.
If I run this, it will be.
So the Kotlin converter, since they sort of discovered destructuring, wants to use it everywhere. I think to teach us a lesson.
Refactor out of streams.
Yeah, I wish there was a way. I mean, it feels like refactoring stream expressions to Kotlin should be a thing that you could at least alt enter and make happen. But I've not found it. I think this is just sum by double.
Mm-hmm. They're saying sum by double. Yeah, sounds good. Then converts to receiver.
You get the pattern. So, but what's a good name at this point?
No. The reason I started thinking about it, then I think, we can inline total. If this line is short enough, then I will just inline it. This is a little bit long for inlining, but once we've done this, it's like just inline there.
Sure.
And then think about the function name to CSV.
So I mean, I came up with summarized. So I liked writer append valuable customers summarized, a sort of past tense thing.
Summarize it.
Yeah, I mean,
to keep it as summarizing.
Summarized, I liked with the D, right. But I'm not religious about it. Yeah, personally, I see. So we've ended up with plus. We've ended up with not with the sum by double as an addition, not inside string. That's okay, isn't it?
Yeah. In this case, I'm fine with it. We can do this.
No, I think to me, like list operations inside a string template, that seems going too far, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go a long way to making a single expression.
In reality, maybe if these symbols had different color in IntelliJ, that would be much easier to read. It's like the same symbol, but maybe a different shade of blue.
Well, yes.
It's probably configurable.
Since I discovered that there are those curly braces and there are bold curly braces and they mean different things, that changed my life. Okay, so we've only got the meat now, and that is this thing. More destructuring. Should we fix the destructuring first and then?
Yeah.
Good.
The other destructuring, yeah.
And more, yeah.
Anything else?
So no, I think we're just going to make that. So I think. So buffered reader lines is returning a stream, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, so let's just convert that to either a sequence. Yeah, let's do read lines. Let's keep it out of sequences for now.
And drop one, I suppose.
Drop one. Sorted by.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh, no collect.
And then don't collect.
Okay, I'll run tests now. We broke everything. We did change semantics of this, right? It was more lazy. But it was collecting
more lazy.
Yeah, it was collecting straight away. So.
Yes. ironically,
I think on sorry. I was just saying, if it was a huge input, we could introduce potentially some performance issues. But,
yes, and I think next time when we pick up from where this one leaves off, we'll look at that. The particular performance horribleness is that drop, because when you look inside what drop does, it actually creates a whole new list. I kind of expected drop to create a view of a list that just didn't have the first element. But yeah, drop in on iterable, I suppose, because it is an iterable.
If size is greater than 1, it just creates a new array list with the expected size, essentially. And then
copies everything into it.
Yeah, right. And then returns. Yeah.
So it is a bit horrendous, but we're going to downplay that for now. We have got a comment though, which suggests that maybe we should pull something out. And now we've sort of got this challenge of how to extract a bit of a functional pipeline from as an extension method. And I keep on losing the memory of how to do this. So I think it's something like, let's select the bits that we don't need to the bit before and make a variable out of that, maybe.
Oh, you mean this?
Actually, let's make a function out of the whole thing. Now let's go to where you were. Let's go with to the end of drop from buffered reader and make a function. Yeah.
Called foo.
Yeah, call it anything you like, because we'll fix it up in a minute when we work out what it does. And now that is, I think that's without header, isn't it? So let's call it without header. Yeah. And now let's push buffered reader read lines, make a parameter out of that. Let's change that just before we do. Okay, go ahead. Let's see what happens.
Okay. And call it list.
Yeah, because it's going to go in a minute. Okay, excellent. So just before you convert that, it's worth looking at the way this reads without an extension function, because what it says is 10. We have to go and we have to get our heads around the fact that the parameter to without header is going to be executed first, and then we're going to do without header on that, and then we're going to do a bunch of other things in sequence. And so we're kind of used to turning our brains inside out to parse how code is going to be executed, but it is horrible when we look at it. So if we make this an extension function now,
much better.
And now it reads basically top down, left to right.
Yeah. Read lines without header. Yeah, I was thinking about it. The only problem I have is that it just drops anything. What if it's not a header? And I had some thoughts about, like, could we even make sure that's a header somehow? But probably
we could, actually. It's a good point. Yes. I guess another implementation of without header would say, let's look at that line. Let's see whether it is the one that we expect. Well, I don't know quite how. We'd effectively have to peek, wouldn't we? We'd have to decide whether we want to drop it depending on what it is.
Yeah.
I'll leave that as an exercise for you.
Thank you.
Should we just format 10 to sort of drop things onto, I think, buffered reader, read line? Yeah, it's just sort of like drop those things down.
Valuable customers, read lines. Do you want everything on a separate line, or this is okay?
I think I would tend, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'd drop that down one.
Just the reason I thought it was okay because it reads like one sentence. Read lines without header.
Yeah.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, also, different people read things in different ways, don't they? I like that enough, I think.
No, it's all good. I don't disagree.
So writer pen, I think 18 should go probably, but that's just that blank line at 18. Should keep all the writing together.
All right, I see what you mean. So you want to group these appends, yeah.
Yeah. So we've done a bit of reading. We've done a bit of writing. And is everything extension function now?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, would you replace it with for each? Because I normally do. Instead of for loops, I would go for each.
Yes, absolutely. So that was Java before, wasn't it? So I guess the Kotlin converter made it a for loop for us. Yes, I agree. I mean, arguably 13 could also just be a function reference.
13. Oh yeah.
I sort of sometimes I prefer one, sometimes I prefer the other. It's kind of weird there where you have we have a reference to an extension function because it looks like you had a reference to a method, and then you go, oh, does this string really have customer data on it? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It's only here. But it's all okay.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking, why like I would maybe try and make a single append, like have header and all customer data and summary in a list, and then have a separate like for each on that list which appends. So there will be a single reference to append.
I think you should tune in next time we do this, in which case, because
Thank you.
Because I agree with you. I mean, so the just before we go, there's a question mark on line 9.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Kotlin converter, sometimes the Kotlin converter is very, very what's the phrase I'm looking for? Conservative when it comes to its types. So this was already quite functional in that most of this was just a set of sort of pure calculations of I'm going to calculate these things, but it is really, really quite imperative actually because we're appending at the writing stage. So I think maybe yes, the next thing to do is come back. When we come back, we'll have a look at a more functional signature of this thing maybe. Certainly when we look at the tests, we'll see that the tests have gone out of their way to make it look like a function. They said we've got an input and an output. And so the tests then are having to jump through when you look in that check. They're having to jump through hoops to put things into readers and out of writers, or vice versa. Don't know which.
Right. So it wraps input into string reader and writes output into output, and then converts them to string. Yeah.
Yes. So we're quite coupled here to I/O. Well, our function is quite coupled to I/O in a way that maybe we don't want it to be. So yeah, maybe if you can spare me a little time, another time we can come back and maybe fix that up. And then also in the book, we then take that thing and look at error handling, because at the moment there is no error handling. Worth just having a little look into to customer data and see how it's going to fail for us. So if we go back into the report generation, what we actually find. So I mean, we don't normally get I/O exceptions, oddly. I guess because we're reading and writing from files. I mean, we've given marketing this little app thing, but what we do find is that sometimes there aren't enough fields in the output because they screw up the spreadsheet.
What do you mean you don't get I/O exceptions? If there is no input file, it will just throw file not found.
Actually, so if you look in the main,
Oh, really?
We're even sneakier than that, because we basically have a little shell script that pipes in and out. So it's not even our job to open the files. So yes, in principle there are exceptions. In practice, that's not a problem we see. What we do see is that the spreadsheet that generates these things sometimes gets in a mess and ends up with blanks where we expect to be able to parse numbers and so on. So again, we can look, I think, another time at how we might deal with those errors in a sensible way. Phew, are we done?
Yeah.
I'm going to count up and say we're done.
You say so.
Say bye-bye, Dimitri.
Okay, thank you. Bye.